Stoicism offers profound insight into how we can live life with clarity, resilience, and really true peace. I started reading the Stoics many years ago, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca. I love Seneca. I have few books. I read them in English, in Bulgarian. Usually at night, I read few pages, even one sometimes, and then I just reflect. I like to read them and sit and digest the information. It's not like a book you can read in one go. At least I don't do that. And I would suggest if you are to ever read them, just take it one lesson at a time or a few pages and then reflect and maybe journal and see how that can be translated into your own life. But there are 10 lessons that stood out to me, and I want to share that with you because Stoicism can help us navigate the ups and downs of life so much easier because the philosophy is just rooted in peace and acceptance and surrender and detachment and letting go. And this ultimately brings us more happiness because we are not so attached to outcomes, to people, places, things, and beliefs, of course. So the first lesson is self-worth and relationships. So Stoics teach us that our sense of self-worth should not depend on external validation, especially from our relationships. That is so important and so topical because many of us have attached our worth to the person we are with, or if we are not with anyone, we attach self-worth that we are alone, so therefore we are not as worthy as someone who has someone in their life. And that is so detrimental to how we view ourselves and ultimately how we live life. So what they teach us is that our self-worth comes from within. By aligning with our own values, living with integrity, and focusing on only on our actions, not on other people's opinions of us. When we rely too much on external validation, we place happiness in the other people's hands. And so we give our power away because one day if someone is upset with us or tells us that they don't like something within us, then we feel that we're not worthy, that we feel bad. Like our mood, our emotions, our feelings are affected but by other people. And ultimately that is giving our power away instead of being rooted and believe that we are worthy the way we are. We don't need another person to tell us who we are and how we should live our life and how we should value ourselves. And we attach our self-worth and identity to external circumstances, to external factors like the car we drive, the apartment we have, the job title we have. And these are things that are so easy to be taken away from us. Sometimes in a split second, things are taken from us. And then who are we? Who are we without that job title? Who are we without this big apartment or fancy car or this clothes? Who are we? And we should not be placing so much importance on these external factors to give us our self-worth. And I'm not saying that those things should not be important, but what I'm saying is they should not be aligned with our self-worth. Yes, if that car gives me joy, and even if it's taken away from me, I'll be just the same person, then yes. Would I think I'm a failure? Or if I lose that job title and I get fired and then now I have to do something else, would I be feeling worthy? Or I like the job title, I like the perks that come with it, but if it's taken away from me, I'll be fine too. I'll still love myself. Ultimately comes down to detaching our self-worth from external circumstances, because this ultimately will lead in disappointment. Instead, practice grounding your self-worth in your own actions and principles, values. Remember, relationships do not define your self-worth. When you learn to appreciate yourself, you will attract the relationships that align with your true self. You're enough just the way you are. It took me many years to learn this lesson, and I'm still on the path of self-love. And it is a hard path, but it's so worth it. Lesson number 2, loyalty and change. Stoicism teaches us that change is the only constant in life. Change is inevitable, and it's natural to fear change, especially in relationships, but we must learn to embrace it. The Stoics advise us to focus on only the things that we have control over and accept what is not. Accept everything, expect nothing. This, to me, is the purest form of detachment and living with the Stoic principles. And I try every time to remind myself and to live like that, especially in the difficult moments, in the breakups. And it's really difficult, but it gets better and I get better and better at it. Speaking of loyalty, it's okay to let go of things that doesn't serve us anymore. And it's okay to let go of people that doesn't align with our values anymore. People change, we change, situations evolve. And it's so important to be loyal to our own principles and personal growth rather than clinging to the past or forcing things to remain the same. So loyalty, it's not really about blind attachment. It's about staying true to yourself and what aligns with your purpose, while also accepting that change is inevitable and necessary part of life. There's no life without change. There's no growth without change. Lesson number 3, worry and action. Worry, it's a common human experience, but Stoicism teaches us that worrying about the things that are out of our control, it's not only pointless, but is detrimental to our peace of mind. How many sleepless nights we all have about things that we have no control over, especially like when someone said something or someone broke our heart or didn't meet our expectations. We worry constantly and we're upset, but this is not in our control. Past is the past. What they did was right or wrong, it doesn't matter really. And what about the future? How many times we say, but what if this happens? If I go for that thing, what if this happens? What if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? What if nothing goes wrong? What if we reverse that script and start thinking, what if it works out? What if it works out for the better, even more, and I get more than I can ever imagine? What if that happens? How do we know? Why do we place so much truth to the what if negative thinking than the what if positive thinking? Because our brain, it's meant to keep us safe. That is its job. It's not supposed to tell us to go for the things and challenge ourselves and so on. So that is why it's very important when you're scared of something to go and do exactly that. Because being scared, it's not the truth. The what if negative thinking is not the truth. That is your brain trying to protect you. But going for the things that scare you, that is where growth is. And we don't know, yes, things might not work out. Your heart might be broken again, but at least you tried. You might have go for that promotion or moved to this city and things did not work out. But you've learned, you tried. There's no regret there. The regret of not trying, it's worse than the regret of trying, failing, and ultimately getting back on your feet. It's a growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Give your best in the direction of the things that you have control over, and then let everything go. Let it go. Be detached from the outcome. Focus your energy on meaningful actions, and the worry will ultimately loosen its grip. So when you catch yourself start spiraling into worry, take a moment, breathe, meditate, or just step back, take a few breaths, assess the situation. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to address this? If there is something you can do, take the action. Take the action with intention and focus. If there's nothing you can do, let it go. Lesson number 4, self-love and acceptance. My favorite. I think they're all favorites, but this one, it took me many years. I thought I loved myself and accepted myself for who I am. And ultimately, I found out I had a lot of work to do. And I always thought self-love, it's more about vanity, indulgence, and giving the best life to yourself that you can. And all of these external things and being perfect, fixing myself, reading all these self-help books and trying to change things about myself that I didn't like. But later in life, I understood it's the exact opposite. Embracing ourselves, flaws and all, just as we are. Do we need to work on things that we can grow? Yes. That's why we're in our relationships, in situations, because they're our mirrors. So whatever triggers us in someone else or in a situation, this is very often that we have in us that we haven't really addressed, embraced, gave love. So we need to look inside and say, why this triggered me? Not pointing fingers, but look inside and say, why this triggered me? What part of me I do not accept fully that is being triggered? What part of me is being triggered? And accept that. Those are our shadows. And shadows are the flaws that we deem flaws that are wrong. So we need to embrace all of that. And that is ultimately the self-love that comes from within. And Stoicism encourages us to accept ourselves, to recognize our weaknesses, and to strive to improve, but without judgment. Compassion towards ourselves. When you notice something about yourself that triggered you from another person, it tells you that you are not fully embracing your flaws. Okay, say thank you. Thank you to the situation, to that person that triggered me and showed me what I still need to work on. Let me get on board and start working towards that thing instead of pointing fingers. This is very difficult to do. And that's why it's very important to have self-compassion in the process. And we're all humans. We all make mistakes. Other person as well. They're being triggered by us. They have their own programming. They react and act because of their own programming. We're not perfect. Who are we to judge them? They messed up. Okay, it's their own path to walk in life, to growth. That has nothing to do with us. It's all them, also us. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's our own programming, our own limitations. And ultimately, when we embrace our flaws and all, we embrace our humanity. We're humans. We're born so imperfect. And that's how we're gonna go. But it's about growing and learning. And this is what life is. But this is what being human is, being imperfect. Give yourself a little grace, a little compassion, and be grateful for everything that life has given you, all the triggers that life has given you. Be grateful because now you have something to work towards. That's why it's so important to reflect and meditate, journal, self-reflect. That is a very difficult thing because ultimately, when I started my self-healing journey and growth and all that, I was so scared. I took a course and I remember the girl asked me, what are you scared of? And I said, I'm scared that I'll finally start peeling these layers and I'll not like what I find inside. Ouch. I think we're all like that. And that was not the case. I peeled all these layers, most of it at least, and I found this loving, generous, kind, gentle, yet strong person that I'm in love with. And I truly, honestly believe we are love and light from inside, but we are covered with all these layers of years of self-programming, people programming, parents, teachers, community, friends, all of that, just life. And it comes to a point in life where we start peeling these layers. And I hope you start where you are and you don't beat yourself up that you didn't start earlier. We're all on our own self-healing journey and it takes whatever it takes. It's a lifelong process, but start where you are. And believe me, when we accept who we are, flaws and all, we will free ourselves from that need of external validation. And remember, there's no growth without self-acceptance. To live with peace and clarity, we must first learn to love ourselves just as we are. Lesson number 5, fear of not living. Fear of not living meaningful life can very often paralyze us. And the Stoics urge us to examine our life and to decide what is truly important, what success means individually to you, rather than chasing something that someone told you should have or society, those fleeting desires or material success. Examine what truly success means to you. What is important for you? Our time on this earth is limited, and the true measure of life is how we use it. We all know the destination. We all know where we're going. How are we gonna get there? How do you wanna live? Truly, examine. Sit down, get quiet, and examine what is really important for you. What do you wanna accomplish in this life without the material possessions? But what do you truly want to? Who do you want to become in this lifetime? What experiences do you want to have in this lifetime? And fear of not living can very often come from comparing ourselves with other people and feel like not good enough. Oh, if I don't have what this person has or the lifestyle that they have, then my life it's not meaningful. Why am I living? And that is so detrimental. But living fully means living authentically to yourself, not according to other people's expectations, standards of society, and so on. How do you want to live? Do you want to be a nomad and travel the world? Or do you want to live in a simple one-bedroom apartment or a studio and travel whenever you want? Or you want to live in a mansion because you like space and light and whatever, pool, I don't know. Do you want to give back to society? Do you want to volunteer? There's no right or wrong way of living. It's your way. But it has to be aligned with who you are. So embrace the Stoic mindset. You can focus on your time using it wisely according to your own values. Then you look back in life and be like, you know what? I had a damn good life. I lived the way I wanted to live. These are the lessons that stood out for me. I practice them. I fail a lot of times, but I am determined to use them most of the times in my life. It will be ideal to use them all the time. The more you practice these lessons, the more they'll transform your life. And always remember, the most important relationship you have is the one you have with yourself. I'll see you next time. Ciao.